speaking of imposter syndrome, I mean, honestly, it never really goes away. Like for that thing, maybe, but there's going to be something else and you're going to feel it again. And then you're going to kind of like get through that and then it'll be something else. So I think whenever you feel that way, if you are mindful enough to recognize that's what's happening, it's like, oh no, this is the imposter syndrome again. It's not me. It's not these crazy thoughts going through my head about not being good enough or not really being an expert or someone being better. This is that thing and it's okay because it just means I'm nervous. I'm doing something new. So let's go do it.
Welcome to Radiant Mom Rising. Get ready to be inspired, empowered, and uplifted. I'm your host, Mary Dibble, and in each episode, we dive into amazing stories, insights, and conversations that help moms like you chase your dreams and embrace your worth. Let's rise and shine together. Welcome to today's episode of Radiant Mom Rising. Before getting into the episode, I wanted to share about my exciting new course, Mom Biz Mastery, that I have created for moms who are aspiring to become an entrepreneur or who already are and are just looking to have that genuine guidance and support through the ups and downs that go along with those endeavors. This course is designed to not only help you gain clarity and get started, but it's also meant to help you grow your business and yourself so that you can truly thrive in the ways you deserve to. It gives you amazing options for you to try so that you find what works best for you, what lights you up, and to figure out how you want to run your business. You also get to join an incredible community where we can come together for additional support, coaching, networking, and so much of what is needed to keep us all going no matter what. For a limited time, you can get in at a ridiculous low rate with lifetime access. That said, this is a highly valuable course with expert guests and all the knowledge I have personally gained from the thousands spent to educate myself so that I can serve and help others like yourself in the way I aspire to. So this is a limited time offer, so be sure to check it out by clicking the links in the show notes. I hope to see you inside. Today's guest is one of those incredible guests who joined me in this very course. And I'm thrilled to introduce her. Hope Trory, founder of Hope Works Design, specializes in marketing and business development for mission-driven AEC firms and small service-based businesses. She leverages her background in architecture to bring a unique perspective to marketing. She simplifies complex marketing strategies, helping clients amplify their brands, resonate with their target audiences, and generate leads. Her approach is all about making complex concepts accessible, ensuring her clients achieve their business aspirations with ease and clarity. Hope's journey is a testament to the power of following your passion and embracing change. From her early dreams of becoming an architect and studying at the prestigious Cornell University to navigating the challenges of the Great Recession, Hope made a bold pivot into the world of marketing where she now specializes in helping architects, engineers, and construction professionals elevate their marketing game. In this episode, we'll dive into Hope's story, exploring her transition from architecture to marketing, the importance of niching down, and her dedication to working with mission-driven firms. Get ready for an inspiring conversation filled with valuable insights and lessons on career reinvention. Hope you enjoy. Hey there, Hope. Thank you so much for joining me on the show today. I'm excited for everyone to get to know you, so please share with us who you are and what you do.
All right. Yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you for having me, Mary. So yes, my name is Hope, and I am the founder of a marketing consultancy called Hope Works Design. And while my niche happens to be architect, honestly, it's the AEC industry. So that's architects, it's engineers, it's interior designers, landscape architects, construction folk. But that's because that's the land from which I came. So I did a huge pivot from architecture into marketing and decided, you know what, there's an opportunity here. My people are here. So let me help those folks with their marketing issues.
Yeah, that is very intriguing and interesting. And I'd love to hear more about like how you even got into this field in the first place. So tell us a little bit about your background of what led you to this.
Yeah, it's not the traditional path. So yeah, I studied architecture at Cornell University. As far as I know, it's still the #1 undergraduate architecture program in the country, which I'm very proud of. Excellent program. I wanted to be an architect my entire life. Like since I was a little kid, okay, like before I knew what architecture was. Like I was designing buildings, like I was building things. Like it was very obvious from the get-go, like, oh, this girl, she's gonna be an architect. So very single-minded. I was like, okay, architect, that's me. Go through all of my schooling, get to college. I only applied to architecture programs. Like that was it. I was set. And it was great. Got out of school, working for an architecture firm. That was great too, because it all seemed destined. It was all set up. Like while I was in undergrad, when I was home on my breaks, I started interning at one of the local architecture firms. And so almost every single break from school, whether it's summer break, winter break, sometimes spring break, I would go back and they would have a desk for me and I would be working. So getting full work experience. I'm like, yeah, it's all right. This is it. And then the Great Recession happened. Everything just flipped on its head. So okay, that was my deciding factor. That was the catalyst for me to pivot. However, I was very quiet about this at the time, but I was starting to have some doubts. As much as I loved architecture, as much as I loved working for that firm, as much as I loved my education and all of that, I had this little niggle of a doubt saying like, is this really it? Because it seems like it, but it doesn't feel 100%. And I kept having all of these other interests. And one of those other interests was web design and marketing. And so I had taken some classes, elective classes while I was still in school. And I would do things for people I knew. So, I was the girl like, oh, you need a website. Oh, contact Hope. Like she does website design. Like I taught myself outside of what I learned in school, I taught myself marketing as well. And so, someone who starting a business or they wanted to get the word out about something, like I was their go-to person. Now he's doing this for free. Mm-hmm. To me, my job was architect. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this was just a hobby. It was just something on the side. But then the Great Recession happened and I was working in Detroit at the time. That's my hometown. We felt everything before, like the year before the rest of the country. So we knew something was up. Like our project started to slow down and stall or not even get off the ground, depending on what phase they were in. It was just, everyone was getting worried. It's like, what's happening? Like, what's going on? And Detroit, still to this day, although they're trying to diversify industry, but it's very much car town. So when the big three are in trouble, the entire city is in trouble because everything is based on people that work for the big three. So if they're not getting money, no one else will be done. Yeah. So it was it was a little worrisome. Eventually, when things really hit the fan and it was very clear that something really big was going on, eventually my firm started laying off people. And I was one of those people that, they made it very clear that when things picked up again, they would love to have me back. Like I had a place still. It's just, yeah. The thing is, I never stopped getting requests for marketing help and web design help and graphic design help. And I realized, oh, I should probably, charge. Yes. It's really sometimes for free. So, yeah. So light bulb moment, like, oh, right. Okay, so let's try this out. So that was a soft pivot because I didn't really advertise or market my own services. It was just word of mouth, like who knew me and that sort of thing. But I was good at it. And people liked working with me. And so I had a pretty steady stream of work. It was all sorts of people, all sorts of businesses. And then I wanted to move to New York City because I wanted to live in New York City for a long time. And it just never seemed like the right time. And so I said, well, you know what? Why not now?
What's stopping you now, right? What's holding you back? You ain't got your job anymore.
Let's just go see what happens. So I moved to New York City. And to my surprise, I know in retrospect, not that much of a surprise, but at the time, to my surprise, my requests for work just shot up. And the networking, oh my God, the network, great. So I kept running into people, meeting people, and I decided I should, as a marketer, probably have my own website. And
I noticed that with so many people. It's like they provide all these services for other people, but they neglect themselves and their own stuff. It's like I don't actually. It's like even lawn care with my husband. It's like, oh, when you see if you know a landscaper's house because all the people that they take care of is like perfect, but then you come to their house and they're like, that's the last thing I want to do in my own yard.
Please. Yeah, it's like chef, like you go to the restaurant, well, but you go to their home and it's like no food.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that funny how that works, right?
It was so true. Like, oh, right. I should have my own website at the very least. So got myself together. I was like, all right, let's make this official. At that same time, I decided, oh, I should really niche down. Because up until that point, if you were a small business owner of some sort or freelancer, I was down to help. And I still am. But the thing is, for marketing, the message is key. And it's really hard to have really good messaging if you are talking to a billion people doing a billion different things. Like you need to really get your messaging on point. You need to kind of narrow it down and speak to a person doing a thing. So because of my background, I was like, oh, well, I know from firsthand experience, the lack of marketing knowledge within the AEC community. Like you're not taught anything about marketing in school. Although I have seen some universities starting to incorporate business and marketing in their programs for architects. I was like, oh, okay, finally. But generally, you don't learn any of it in school. And it's really hard to kind of pick it up while you're like doing your actual job. So you don't really learn anything that's really that useful, at least that's not current. So like, in my firm and many other firms, when you said marketing to them, they thought, oh, you mean like proposal design or like sending out like RFPs or something.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, that's not it.
Nope. No.
So I was like, okay, well, there's a need. I know the industry really well. So let me niche down and focus on my people. So that's what I did. And that's what I've been doing. And I niched down, so in 2020, I decided to narrow my niche down even more. And I decided, okay, instead of just any small firm, it's going to be a small to mid-sized firm that has a mission. So I love and the mission can't just be great design because that's everybody's mission.
Yeah, exactly.
But a mission that's going to do something that's positive, like give back to society, the planet, the people in some kind of way. So if you're in sustainable design, if you are a nonprofit, if you are trying to focus on affordable housing, if you are trying to do change urban planning laws to allow, because in a lot of places you're not even allowed to build affordable housing. So there's that. So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
It's typical.
So yeah, so if you're in that ilk, your mission is design, but it's to design for good, then I'm your person.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, so in 2020, I kind of narrowed down a little bit more and have been focusing on those folks ever since. Like I said, I do have some clients that are not at all, or even within the industry. Like people find me, and because the vibe is right, like we like what each other are about, and I can support what they're doing, and I feel like I can actually help them, then sure. But my marketing messaging is not to them necessarily. Because like I said, to be good, to really get your message clear and in front of the right people, you have to be very specific on who you're talking to. But man, it was quite the pivot. And while I'm still within the industry in some respect, it's interesting being on the other side. Like I'm not designing building spaces anymore. But it's funny because I've found so many other people that also have pivoted. So either they pivoted into architecture or they pivoted out. And it's really fun to, share our origin stories.
Yeah. Exactly. And well, it's such a cool like example of how like your whole life you could want something so bad. And so many people have said that when they have arrived pretty much to it, that, one or two things can happen a lot of times. Like, it's like, yeah, you arrive there and it either keeps growing and expanding in a way that you never expected it to, or you come in to realize that maybe it wasn't exactly all that you thought it was going to be. And that's okay. This is why it's so cool to try different things and to allow yourselves to be open to trying new things, because sometimes what you think you want, it just doesn't always pan out that way. And that could be a good thing. It's not always a bad thing, It's
Exactly.
I know,
I think because I did struggle with like when I first decided, okay, I'm gonna go all in on this marketing thing. Because I did, after when things kind of picked up a bit, and it took a while for the recession to technically be over, right? But like things started to pick up, the economy started to like pick back up. My old firm reached out saying, hey, I know you moved to New York, but are you planning on staying there? Like, what's the deal? Because we're hiring again and we want to see like if you want your job back. And I had to like tell them no, because I was like, well, no, I'm committed. I'm committed to this new path. And I definitely had a moment of, well, it wasn't quite grief, but I had to say goodbye. Like I had to like actually close that chapter for myself, because it always felt like it's the door was slightly ajar and can always like go back. But I had to actually close it to like move forward in my new path, my new career. So, but what I did was I told myself, and I still believe this is true. The reason why, as a kid, I wanted to become an architect. Okay, as a kid, it was to save the world.
Oh,
goodbye.
Yeah,
because I was that kid.
No, I love it.
But ultimately, I recognized the power of good design on everything. Because if your house is well designed, you're going to live a healthier life. You're going to breathe clean air. You're going to have the privacy you need. You're going to feel secure. If you have a well-designed neighborhood, you're going to feel safe. Your kids are going to feel safe. You're going to have everything that your family needs within walking distance. If you have a well-designed city, again, like it grows out from there, right? And if all of these things are built with, good intentions in mind, so it's like we're going to use good materials that are healthy for people and not toxic materials. We're going to be inclusive so that everyone has basically a seat at the table. So there's a home for everybody, That's what I wanted to do, like as a kid, because I was always making things, but I remember seeing just stuff around like trash and litter. And, I was like, oh my God, like I knew about recycling. So I'm like, we need to recycle and we need to do this, but clean the earth. Because I was a very annoying kid around an adult, because I was, as a child too, things are very black and white. And it was like, well, if this is good, then we should be doing the good thing. And it was very hard for me to understand as a child why adults who knew this before I did were doing the right thing. So it's like, well, what's happening? And like, like there was a McDonald's that my mom would take me to as a treat. Like I get my little Happy Meal and a toy, and I was really excited. Well, right next door to that McDonald's was this empty lot full of tires, like old used tires. It would just pile up in this giant mountain of tires. And I would ask, like, where did those tires go? Because at some point it will be too big for the lot, right? And they went to a landfill. I was like, a landfill? Oh, isn't there something we could do? And so around the same time, I was reading a children's magazine called Highlight. I'm not sure if they're still around or not.
Oh, yeah, I remember those. I don't know if they are. Well, I'm trying to think if my kids ever bring them home. I don't think they do, but I remember it as a kid.
Hi, good. Oh, I loved Highlight. So in one issue, it featured this architect that was in the Southwest of the United States. And so he's out there in the desert building adobe home. And for the insulation, he used old used tires and the plastic bit that you're supposed to cut up so that, they don't get caught up in the wildlife or whatever like that. So he was basically taking that trash technically and reusing it as home insulation for his adobe homes. And it was this whole spread and highlight this magazine. And I was like, this is it. Where is it? And so that started it. Because I was like, he's an architect. Well, what do architects do? They just make houses. And then like, my uncles and my aunt, my mom, they all kind of told me a little bit about architects. And I went right to the library to learn more. And that started my journey. I was like, I'm going to be an architect because I'm going to take all the trash and make insulation for it. It's going to be great.
How awesome is that? They're like, whoa, like that's so cool. How these little things that we do on our path, like, can just lead us to where we go in life. Like that's so
it can be the smallest thing.
It can be, and that's such a
that tiny little that magazine, and like it was just a revelation to me. So thank you, Highlights, because you set me on my path.
Hey, there it is. Oh, I love it. I never thought I would meet someone who was in your shoes with Highlights. Like, that's so funny. I haven't even thought about that. Right. I love it. I love it. Oh, it takes me back. But yeah, it's so cool to see how we shift through all sorts of different areas in our lives. And I'm so proud of you, because I know it also must feel so good to get a call back like that and realize like that you're so valuable. I know when I worked at an office one time, I feel like they took me for granted for so long. And even though I was one of the best employees they had in the front office, and when I left, finally, they came back about 2 different times, like trying to get me to come back as an office manager, because things just were different when I left, of course. And it's so nice to know that both times, like, I got to turn them down. Like, I got to, instead of going back and whether the money would have been good or not, it was like I was in a place that I was like, I love the new path that I'm on. I love getting to be home with my kids, which of course they understood. And we always still had a high respect for each other. The doctors did with me, but it's just that it just felt good to like be wanted like that and valued finally. And just to be able to, like you say, close that door though for good and be like, no, I am on this new path and I'm just jumping in with both feet, and it's completely new, completely different than anything I've done before, but I'm going to go with it. And I've noticed that with me and anything I do, it's like, I'm nervous a little bit in the beginning, but then within no time, oh my God, I so thrive in it. And so, that's such a great quality and a thing that we don't realize sometimes about ourselves that we need to look at. It's because I hear that a lot. I don't know about you, but I hear that a lot with people who are just getting started in their businesses, that they feel like that imposter syndrome, that whole like, oh, can I really do this? And I get it. It's like when you start a new job and you have no clue what anyone's doing or how the systems work or blah, blah, blah. But then, give it a couple weeks. The next thing you know, you kind of got a little flow. And then a couple months later, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I can do this with my eyes closed, right? And it just keeps advancing. So I love to inspire people to just not give up, to just keep going with it and show up.
I love that, because everyone needs a bit of inspiration, and whichever and however that inspiration comes. The inspiration might be like a little like kick up the butt, like, yo, get going, you're awesome, go be awesome, right? Or it might be like, here's a lovely quote for today, and then that's enough inspiration. However it comes, everyone needs a little bit of inspiration. And speaking of imposter syndrome, I mean, honestly, it never really goes away. Like, for that thing, maybe, but there's going to be something else. And you're going to feel it again. And then you're going to kind of like get through that. And then it'll be something else. So I think whenever you feel that way, if you are mindful enough to recognize that's what's happening, it's like, oh, no, this is the imposter syndrome again. It's not me. It's not these crazy thoughts going through my head about not being good enough or not really being an expert or someone being better. This is that thing, and it's okay, because it just means I'm nervous. I'm doing something new. So let's go do it. Because all the previous times you made it through. So let's
Exactly. It's like, if anything in that moment, reflect back on the old jobs or the old things that you've done in your life and how successful you got, after you gave yourself some time to just get the hang of things. I mean, it is all trial and error. It's just, for me, sometimes I learned the most when I made my mistakes in a job. Like, it really, like, I won't do that again. It sticks in the forefront of my head more, like, and from there I just improved. But That's what don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to fall. It's okay. You can pick yourself back up and keep going.
Yeah. Another quote, like I'm going to butcher it. I don't really remember it exactly, but it's something like falling isn't failure. Not getting up is failure.
I don't know, but if that's a quote in itself, it should be, because that makes complete sense to me. But I love that. Yeah, that's so true. It's so true.
Fall all the time if that's what you need to, but just get up.
Yeah.
Every time you fall, get back up.
Exactly, because that's the point of it all, right? I mean, you teach that to your kids. Whenever they fall, you're just like, oh, you're okay. Shake it off. Get back up. And there's such prime examples of that. I see that. I have a 2-year-old who just, man, he's a beast. He'll just go and he'll freaking fall over and bam, smack his head on the floor, blah, blah, and he'll freeze. Almost like he's waiting to see if one of us are going to look at him or say something. Right. So we try to not react because we don't want him to freak out. And then he'll get right back up and just keep on running again. I'm like, okay.
Hey there, aspiring entrepreneurs. Ready to turn your free time into a flourishing digital marketing business? Introducing Lipo Max, your comprehensive all-in-one package for launching a successful venture. With Lipo Max, you'll get access to over 200 in-depth, beginner-friendly training videos tailored to your needs. Plus, enjoy lifetime access with continuous course updates, weekly training calls, and ongoing community support. All without any monthly fees or extra charges. And the best part? You'll benefit from a high-demand digital product, the course, expertly crafted and ready for immediate sale. Yes, that means you earn 100% profit on every sale. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to transform your free time into a profitable business. Join LipoMax today and watch your dreams take flight. Click on the link in the show note today to learn more.
So like little kids, especially when they're really little, it's like they're almost indestructible, because I will see the kid, like you said, take this massive fall. I'm like, oh my God. But then they're like pop right back up running. I'm like, okay.
It's like their body was designed to I guess it's to really protect them, because they are young and they're more, likely to get hurt and things like that. But yeah, it is. I'll never forget my husband. Whenever we first met, I had a son at that point, and he was about 7 years old, and he was the one who really helped me see that he's like, Mary, when he cries and stuff, he's doing it for attention. You need to toughen him up. You need to let him see that it's okay to fall and things like that. And I'll never forget this one time we were all playing and hanging out, and he was by himself playing, and he slipped, and I saw it for the first time. Where he just kind of peeked up to see if anyone was looking, and then he did, and he got right back up, and I was like, oh man, got me. He's always suckered me into being like, and I'm like, I was babying him, I was coddling him, I had to stop that. But yeah, it's just a life lesson, right? You live and learn, right? You live and learn.
I mean, it's one, the kid has to learn, you're fine, get up. But also, the parent, because you don't want to see your kid fall.
Oh, yeah. It's hard.
Obviously, you're like, oh, God. But that is the lesson they need to learn. It's like when they fall, they need to get up. They're okay.
Exactly. Exactly. And then don't get me wrong. When they really get hurt, of course you're there and you comfort them, because you want them to know they need to feel what they feel. But, at the same time, you want to help them to be strong in the sense of one of the things I see with my daughter, for instance, at 4 years old, she's very emotional, and she almost causes herself suffering from the littlest of things. And so I'm trying to actually teach her, and this is something I would teach anyone listening right now. There's something that's called imaginary suffering. And we do this all the time to ourselves, in which we literally create suffering in this moment, present moment, over something that hasn't even happened yet or hasn't happened. Think about it. How many times have you been driving your car, stressing about, oh God, I got this and that to do at work, or I don't know what mood this person's going to be in at work when I arrive, and blah, blah, blah. And are you not experiencing this anxiety and this stress right then and there? So you're causing yourself imaginary suffering. And so when I see my daughter doing that's a prime example of she will freak out over something. And I'm like, honey, you're causing this experience to be so much harder and worse on yourself than it is. Because I'm like, isn't the pain gone? Isn't this gone? So let's just take some breaths and breathe and feel good and just let it pass. It will pass. But, instead of the whole prolonging it, oh my goodness. And it makes me, when I see that, I'm like, oh my God, we do that. We do that to ourselves. We sit there all the time and stress out and give ourselves anxiety over things that may or may not even happen the way we think they are. I mean, how many times have you had like conversations in your mind before you go to like talk to somebody or confront somebody about something? And you're like, you're just expecting all these things of like what they may say and how I'm going to respond if they say this or that. Oh, I mean, it's just so much that we put on ourselves, you know?
Well, the thing is, I'm glad you brought this up, because something like what you imagine in your head becomes reality. And so if you are thinking up all of these horrible things, which are internal, like you said, you feel that in the present moment in your body, it feels horrible. You feel the anxiety. You, depending on what it is, like you might actually be, your heart might be racing, or, you know, you might getting like shorter breath and things like that. Like you feel tense and you're reacting to nothing. It's imaginary. It's in your head. You're just thinking this up, but your body's reacting to it like it's real. But when you actually engage, like if you were worried about something you need to tell someone, and so you're thinking all these horrible scenarios in your head and your body's reacting to it. So you're feeling it. You finally get to talk to that person. You're not coming into the conversation from a healthy place. You're coming expecting all this horribleness, and either they might sense that and feel that something's off, but not know what they're feeling and be defensive. And so it comes a self-fulfilling prophecy, or they're completely fine and you're all tense and, you know, and just tight for no reason. And then you're like, oh, I didn't have to worry about it. Yes. Yeah. I wasted all that time feeling like anxious and nervous and everything for nothing.
Exactly. Because like you say, you're bringing that energy with you, and that's so powerful, more than people realize in any interactions they have. And I think it's so funny when you just, wow, looking back and thinking how much I used to do that. Like I'm so guilty of it. I used to be like that a lot. And it's so nice to have more of an awareness and a shift in not worrying about things and just going more with the flow and allowing things to happen as they're meant to, rather than feeling like I have to put these expectations or this pressure, or like just be so worried about things that have yet to come.
Right.
It's so nice. So yeah.
Great. I love that, because it's such less, you know what, it's less baggage, because if you're not carrying all that stuff around, then no matter what happens, like, yeah, say you do have to have a tough conversation with someone, but you're not bringing all that baggage with you. You're not making up scenarios in your head. You're just saying, okay, well, this is what I need to communicate. And you communicate to that person. How they respond is not your responsibility. But the thing is, you aren't bringing that energy to that conversation. And therefore, you have a lot less stress and baggage on your shoulders. And however they happen to respond, even if it's not in a way that you would prefer, it's easier for you to deal with it. You know, because you're not weighed down by your own crap and then have someone else's crap on top of it. It's just, yeah. Let me come at this from a neutral place.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And I think you like you say, you would end up handling it way better, more professionally, just more lovingly, but depending on who you're talking to, then if you come, you know, have all that behind you and in your mind, it's exhausting, is it not? I mean, it's so exhausting to be that way. And it's something I hope to, with just having like a conversation like this, for people to really think about with their own lives and their own selves. Like if you're doing this right now, really think twice about it. Like think about like, wow, man, I do that all the time. Well, what can you do then to start taking a step back? And when you catch yourself in those thoughts, you know, to just take some deep breaths and just be like, you know what? I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to allow it to be, and, you know, choose to think differently, choose to be differently, do what you need to do, you know, to kind of get away from that and just shift from that. Cause it's no way to live. It's
not, it's really not. It is so much freeing to realize that and be able to, I mean, like we're all human, so we're going to make mistakes, right? And
of
like
course
forget to do that or not be present of mind to be able to stop ourselves. But for the most part, it's so much more freeing because you have your energy for something else that's much more fulfilling than carrying around all this crap and these horrible thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to say, like, I used to do that quite a bit when engaging with like potential clients, especially.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously in my personal life, it will come up as well, but it was, for some reason, it was easier for me to be more neutral with people in my personal life. But when it was a client, especially if it was like a potential client, we've had like the initial conversation and both seem on board. Like I'm like, oh yeah, this is my person. And they're like, yeah, this is my person. So I need to do the proposal and send it up. That's the point where I would get like really anxious and nervous. And I start making up scenarios as I'm writing out the proposal. I'm like, oh, well, maybe this is too much. I don't know. I should lower my feet. Or, oh, maybe I should add this in to make it seem more valuable, even though it's already perfectly
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing all this stuff. And then I sent out the proposal. And if I don't hear back right away, it's like, oh my God, they hate me. They don't want to work with me after all. They were just lying to me. They wanted to be nice to me or something, but really, like all of this stuff for no reason.
Yeah. Oh my God. You're speaking to so many people right now. You have no idea. That is a powerful thing. So please, by all means, like how do you handle that? Like what's one of your techniques or things that you do? What has helped you to, I mean, like you said, I know we're humans and I know sometimes we're going to fall into that, but what is something that you practice, maybe try to do when you catch yourself in those moments and doing a proposal that can help someone listening who struggles with that? Because I can guarantee you so many of us do that when it comes, because this is part of the sales part of your business is when you get to that point where you are sharing the value that you have to offer and then putting a price to that. This is a hard part for so many people, especially in the beginning stages. So what would you say to those people?
Well, there's two things I found super helpful, and I learned at a few different points in my career so far. So I was notorious earlier in my career as a marketer to underprice. So notorious for it because I wanted to be available for everyone. So if you have a tiny budget, I'm like, I'm going to find a way to the thing is, after years of that, I realized I was doing myself a disservice and I was doing those clients or potential clients a disservice as well. Because I was lowering my value. Because when you lower your value, like it's a number, the fee that you attach, but that does resonate with the value that someone perceives that they're getting from you. And so if you are artificially lowering it because you think you're going to meet them where they are to be helpful and kind, they're going to see that not as helpful and kind. They're going to see that as not valuable and therefore treat you and your services the same. So I had to learn that. It took me a while to learn it. So whenever I have, it happens still. I've gotten a lot better. Like I have some set services that have set pricing that it's that way so that I can like, nope, this is what it is, Hope.
Yeah, you either take it or you don't. It's okay.
Yeah.
There's people that will pay that. So
exactly. But before I got to that point, I had to realize, I'm like, well, okay, but what value am I providing? Like if I write down and itemize everything that I'm doing and itemize what the client will be receiving and then put a price tag on both of those, I was so massively underselling and undervaluing my services that I felt horrible. Like once I did that exercise, I literally felt like sick. I was like, oh my God. That's why I felt like I had to take on so much work in order to pay bills and to keep afloat because I was so underselling myself. I was barely making a profit when I should have been making a huge profit for the amount of work I was getting, like, oh, okay. And then it was also the quality of client. Like, I don't think there's such thing as like a bad client necessarily. It's just a bad match. And so I had some bad matches because while I could serve them, they were not the right fit for me. And, and so I was like, okay, I had to get good and comfortable saying no because I wanted to help everybody. It was just my personality. So I had to get used to just saying no. Like if it wasn't a good fit and you can recognize it, like even if you're in a conversation with someone and you might not be able to pinpoint why this person isn't a good fit to work with you, but you will feel it. And you should listen and honor that feeling, because even if you can't put words to it, your body is right. So if it doesn't feel right, it's like, okay, for whatever reason, it's a good fit. I'm going to say no. If they say, no, I really, really want to work with you, it's okay, because it's not changing the feeling. For whatever it is, you will find out, because if you go against what your body is telling you, and I've done this plenty of times, so I know it's a lesson sometimes I have to learn again and again, because it happened a few years ago where someone reached out and on the surface level seemed like a good match, but we finally had a call. And on that call, I was like, I don't think this is good. Like, this is not feeling good. But they were like in desperate strait and really like seemed to really want my help and need my help, like me specifically, not just any marketer. And I gave in because I was like, oh, I really want to help them. I really love what they're doing. But something kept telling me, nope, this is not it, Hope. No. But I didn't listen to it. I moved forward with it. It was a terrible. Oh my God. It was so hard working with them. It was such a stress-induced experience that eventually I had to let them go. I'm like, look, I had to have that conversation, which is a hard conversation to have sometimes. But it's like, we have to go, our separate ways. And they're fine. I mean, they found someone else, and I don't know how well it's going, but they found someone else. It's not like they're just adrift and abandoned or anything. But they felt it too. Like, it was a mutual thing. And once I let that go, or let them go, it was like relief. Yeah. And I could have avoided all of that.
Had
I just listened to myself,
Well, know, it's funny you say that, because that's just a prime example of like how much we don't trust ourselves. Trust is such a vital thing in this process. I think trust for me was something I just never had, period, dot. Not just in myself, but in anyone. But it starts with yourself, of course, which is something I had to learn that, well, of course, I don't trust anybody else, Mary, because you don't trust yourself. So we got to start there, of course. But that is part of that intuition and listening to it, because, man, you're right. That is like, that's God, in my opinion. Like, that is God, or if you want to call it the universe, that's trying to warn you and tell you, like, let me save you from yourself.
Exactly what it is. Let me save you from yourself. And the thing is, even you don't have to be someone that is super in tune with their intuition, because we all get these little feelings. Like, maybe it's a gut instinct, whatever you want to call it. Listen to it, because it will lead you right. Like, even if you have all the logical reasons in your mind about why you should do it anyway, listen to your gut, listen to your heart, whatever it is, listen to your body.
Yes, because I love that.
It is going to lead you in the right direction. And like you said, it's saving you from yourself. And so I had learned that lesson before, but, a few years ago, I had to learn it again, because I did exactly what I had learned not to do. And turns out it bit me in the butt. And I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done this. I should have listened to myself, because I knew. So, so that's one thing. Listen to your body, because it's going to know. Even if you don't know why and you don't have the logical reason, that's okay. It'll come later. And even if it doesn't come later, it's fine. It's going to keep you from going into a situation you're going to want to get out of at that point later. Just avoid it. The other thing I had to learn was to separate my feeling from the potential client. So we're at that phase. I'm creating a proposal for them. It's really not good to try to get in their head and like make assumptions about what they'll say yes to. If you have a service and you feel it's the vibe check passes, you feel like they're a really good client, you don't get any senses of discomfort that this might not be the right one, like this, you feel really good about engaging with this person, having them as your client. And they wanted a proposal, so you're creating the proposal. Just create the proposal. Whatever your price happens to be, whatever the proposal or services include, that is what it is, and you send it off. Now, of course, they can always say no or request and change or whatever, but don't try and get into their head and say, well, I think they might have budget, so let me do this. Or, I don't know, they might want, no. That's going the wrong path. No, because one, You won't know. And then two, and this is like part B of this thing of not getting in their heads. To help yourself, because this is what helped me not do that, is to schedule your calls. I don't like calling, like I don't do sales calls. For me, they're all clarity calls because it's about achieving clarity. And even if that clarity for me is, oh, this is not my person, they're still going to walk away with some valuable advice or information. Like it's a win-win for both, even if we both don't want to move forward beyond that point, right?
Yeah.
And then, but if we do, and it's like, hey, like send me a proposal, I've now structured my clarity calls so that all I need to do for my proposal is just write down what I said, like what we talked about. Awesome. So it's just the clarity calls like, hey, I want to get to know you. You tell me what your issues are, what you think they are. Let's have a chat. Okay, I think this is a good fit. What do you think? All right. Do you want to hear how I think I can help you? Yes. Okay, here you go. I say how I think I can help them. And here's the price, for that service. Get a temperature gauge on them. Like, are they still with me? Do I feel like they're pulling away? Like, but all this happens on that call. And then at the end, it's like, okay, well, I will draft that proposal and send it to you. And literally the proposal, exactly how I said I can help them. So this is all information they already know. They already know the price. So, and because I told them on the call, if they have any objections, we can talk about that on the call. So by the time I send them the proposal, they're already a yes. Because if they were a no, they wouldn't want the proposal.
Exactly. I love it. That's great. That's a smart structuring right there. And I like it because I've had times in my past where people like, I'm just not really big with the pushy sales. I know so many people teach you that, but that's just not me. I never, ever, ever want to get a client just by making them feel forced. Like, oh, if you don't sign up right now, blah, 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 you have to make this decision right here and now. Like, I cannot stand that because I personally have jumped onto things because of that. And it was a disaster. I regretted it. I lost out on so much money. And I always said to myself, I will never run a business like that because it's so not genuine. It's so sleazy and sneaky. And I just not how I would want to be. And that's part of like your intuition right there. I wish I had listened to myself because anyone who makes you feel that pressure, but I love that because you're literally you're laying it all out and you're just letting them make that decision, and that's what I think is so neat. And that's what I want to bring to the table. It's like, just get on a call. Let's talk. Let me see where you're at. And if I feel like I can help you, I'll let you know. And then this is the pricing. And if you want to go with it, yeah. And if not, that's okay. Like, I hope you find your person because I know I'm meant to work with certain people. And I think that's something we should have a mentality about is that if it's meant to be, it will happen. And if it doesn't, that's not a bad thing. Sometimes it's a really good thing and it's okay because it's still, you just got that practice. You just got that practice in it. And so that alone is going to lead you to so much more in your business and in yourself. So I think that's another way to look at it too, is that, you're getting the experience one way or another, you're never going to get better,
Super valuable experience to have, like, especially because a lot of times people, especially people that are super genuine and they're authentic, they get a little clammed up around the idea of a sales call. And so it's like, don't even call it a sales call.
Oh, God, yes.
It's a conversation. Change the name so that because if you change the name, it changes how you perceive it, right?
Yeah.
So it's no longer a sales call. And then, like you said, you lay it out there. And if they're yes, they're yes. If they're no, they're no. I will say, though, that sometimes people will have objections that aren't really a no. So it might be something on their side that they're dealing with. So maybe they're on board, but you say the price and they're like, oh my God, I've never spent that much in one. And then it's like, okay, well, that's fine. Like, you can have a conversation about that. Like, what exactly, depending on what they say, it's like, well, okay, well, that's fine. I hear you. And then talk a little bit about that to see if you can get them to reveal their real objection. Because it might not be the price. It might be, we just bought a car and my partner is going to freak if they find out this much, Well, it has nothing to do with you and your price.
Exactly.
It's other circumstances. And then it's like, okay, and maybe because you've gotten to the bottom of what the real objection is, and if it is paying your fee up front at once, and you feel good about it, maybe you can say, okay, well, how about you pay me this much? And then in a month you pay me this much.
Yeah.
And, you can work with them on it. Or it could be maybe they're on board and they're even on board with the fee, but they're still not 100% sold on you helping them, like what they're actually going to get. So that just means, okay, I just need to do a better job at illustrating for you what you're getting out of it. Like not just like the words, but like the feeling.
Yeah.
And so, because some people, you can say all the right words and they're like, yeah, that sounds really good, but it's not hitting them in their heart. And so you have to kind of walk them through like what it will feel like, what they will feel like, that transformation that you're going to bring for them.
Yeah.
And once they have that feeling, it's like, oh, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
And
that, trust me, yes, that's what, honestly, it's what helped me a lot of times with some of the programs that I ended up joining, was somebody taking that time with me of breaking that down and realizing like, oh, it's just that I'm in all this debt right now and I'm trying not to get in too much debt. But like, they make a good point. Like, but how would it feel to be on the other side of where you're at right now? And so just knowing that alone and knowing that I'm going to learn something so valuable in this, that it could turn my life around and that it can really help me. And even if I didn't get exactly some of the results that other people had, I gained so much value and knowledge that has just strengthened me as a person. Mm-hmm. And as I can literally take down into my business and turn around and help others with it. So it's like one way or another, it can be worth it, but you just got to feel it. Exactly. And like I said, I like that. I like that taking time and really getting to the bottom of things. Because you're right. Some people are just kind of like, okay, that's fine, dismiss it because they're nervous or, or whatever it is, or they just accept it. And it's like, no. And then also a follow-up, I hear, is such another really important thing is always follow up with those people who do say no, just to check in. Because you're right, their circumstances could change down the road. Mm-hmm. And you're just letting them know that you're still thinking about them and that, you just want to make sure that they're not ready now. Because some people just aren't ready now, and that's okay. But they could be ready, 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road. And you just want to be there when they're ready. So that's another good point. I love that. So, and I want to have you share, I know our time's coming to an end, but if somebody were interested who's listening right now is like, oh my God, I could really use your help. I'd love to get on a call with you, learn about how, website designing, marketing stuff. Where can they find you?
Easiest way to find me is on my website, which is hopeworksdesign.com. And, I have a booking calendar on my website that you can book a call with me for free and we can have a chat. If you are on LinkedIn, then send me a message and connect with me there. That's also a good way to find me. I'm on all of the social medias, but I'm most active on LinkedIn. And so I would say if you're going to reach out via social, go the LinkedIn route. They'll see your message.
Awesome. Yes. And we'll make sure that's all in the show notes for you. But I really enjoyed this conversation with you today, Hope. Like, seriously, this is such good juiciness. Like, there's such good information in here and just real things that you can start implementing right now. No matter where you're at in your business, or where you're at in life. I mean, you can implement this in so many different ways for so many different things that you're going through. So we'd love to hear from you guys and give us some feedback. Let us know how things are going for you. If you are trying things, if you're struggling with this, reach out to us. We want to support you, want to inspire you, encourage you. Hope, again, I want to thank you for being part of the show with me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I love this. This has been such a fun time.
It's been a joy.
Love it.
What a great talk. I just adore Hope and I'm so thankful to have met her. Here are the key takeaways from today's episode. Sometimes life takes unexpected turns, like the Great Recession. Use these moments as opportunities to pivot and explore new paths that may lead to fulfilling careers or passions you hadn't considered before. What starts as a hobby or side project, like Hope's interest in web design and marketing, can turn into a successful career. Don't dismiss your passions. They might become your new path. Networking can significantly boost your career by connecting you with like-minded individuals and potential clients. Narrowing your focus and niching down, like Hope did with her consultancy for the AEC industry, helps in crafting clear, effective marketing messages and attracting the right clients. Recognize the value of your skills and don't be afraid to charge for your services. Transitioning from offering free help to running a business can be a crucial step in professional growth.
Continuously learn and adapt. Taking elective classes and self-teaching can equip you with new skills that might be essential for your next career move. Understand that your career path might not be linear. What you set out to do as a child may evolve, and that evolution can lead to equally fulfilling and impactful work. Use your background and experiences, even if they are in different fields, to inform and enhance your current work. It's natural to feel nervous and unsure when starting something new, but confidence grows with experience. After the initial learning curve, you tend to excel and thrive in new environments. So push through the initial phase of doubt and uncertainty and keep going until you find your rhythm. Trust your gut feelings and intuition when making decisions, especially in business. Embrace mistakes as learning opportunities and understand that failure is part of the growth process. You can follow and learn more about Hope and her services by clicking the links in the show notes. If you know anyone who would benefit from hearing this conversation, please be sure to share it with them. I hope this has inspired anyone listening. I truly appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to subscribe so you can stay updated on the episodes to come. Also, leave us a review or a 5-star rating so we can continue to grow and reach as many amazing moms out there as possible. Your support is much appreciated. Be sure to check out more on the new course, Mom Biz Mastery, now available for any moms looking to build and grow your own business and not only learn what it takes, but to get the true support and guidance needed to keep going as you do the work and build your confidence towards the successful life you deserve. For a limited time, you can get in at the lowest price available for such incredible value and unwavering support with lifetime access. Click on the link in the show notes or visit me at marydibblecoaching.com to learn more about this amazing opportunity. Thank you all again for listening. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Until next time, much love.